Hello. In this video, I want to share what I do when I don't feel like doing my makeup. This is still a lot of makeup. It's not 4 items. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 items. And this is what I would do if I want to do the minimum, look nice, have my skin protected, and have my features highlighted, and still look put together without looking like I have a ton of makeup on. But it's still a ton of makeup. Gone are the days where I can put some sunscreen on, some mascara, some lipstick, and run out the door. My skin needs a little more TLC these days. Now, I am starting with my skincare already done. I'm moisturized. I have a tinted sunscreen on. I use the Australian Gold in the light medium tint so that it's not a white cast. And that's where I'm starting. I also did quite a bit of extra skincare last night. I dermaplaned, and then I also microneedled at home. And if you'd like to see a video with the microneedler or some of the other at-home gadgets that I have picked up and have been enjoying, let me know in the comments, and I'd love to make a video about some of that stuff. I have found a lot of these tools really do move the needle on your skincare game. So anyway, to start with, I have been watching, I have a little wrap on my head to keep my hair out of my face and off my ears. And then what I was going to say was I've been watching several, my favorite people to watch for makeup right now are Erica Taylor, because she focuses on what to do with mature skin and how we need to change our makeup game as our eyes start to hood and our lips start to wrinkle. And I'm not saying that to bag on ourselves, but that's just part of the natural aging process. And it doesn't mean that you need to stop wearing makeup, but you just need to change how you apply it a little bit. And she is fantastic for doing that kind of stuff. So shout out to Erica Taylor. And then if you want to watch something fun and a little more avant-garde, I like Adi, A-D-I. And I don't think he's on YouTube. If he is, I don't know the channel name. The name that he goes by on TikTok is Adi, A-D-I. And so he's a lot of fun if you have browner skin. He's Indian, from India. And he focuses on people with two-tone lips and browner skin because there's not a lot of content out there for them. And so he does makeup on himself, and he does full glam most days, and he's just a lot of fun to watch. So I've been watching him more for entertainment because I'm obviously not brown skinned, but he does still have some application tips and some general basic routine tips. He shows you how to do a full face of makeup with 4 products. I need more products, but he starts with, and he's also had some tips on tight lining that I'm going to share with you today. And full disclosure, I got those tips from him. So to start, both of them tell you to do your eye makeup first. And I'm used to doing my base first, but they said that if you do the base and you get it in your eyebrows, then your eyebrows aren't going to look as good when you go to do them because you've got that foundation under there. So my face is clean. It has nothing but the skincare on it. And really, Adi would like you to do your eyebrows even before your skincare, but I didn't. But I did wipe them off a little bit. So when I was done doing my skincare, I did wipe my brows. So they're as clean as they're going to get if you ever see this, Adi. So I'm going to start with doing a light brow. I'm not going to go crazy on the brows today because I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to be home. But if I do go crazy, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to be home. So it doesn't really matter. But my goal is to do a light beat of makeup. That's what the kids are calling it these days, a light beat. And just to look nice in case I change my mind and I do want to leave the house, or in case a neighbor knocks on the door, which they often do. I know all of my neighbors. They're like friends. So a lot of times they'll pop on over. So I need to look good every day because even on the days that I don't go anywhere, people may show up. And that doesn't mean I have people showing up at my door, but I have neighbors that show up with things like dog treats a lot. I have an upstairs neighbor, and he's always like, oh, my dogs didn't like these treats. Would your dogs like them? My dogs like all treats, so I always say yes. Or he'll come over with, we got these these frozen ground beef patties at Costco, and they're seasoned, and I don't like the seasoning. Would you like them for yourself or for your dogs? And I usually say yes. So he's always bringing me food and dog treats. And then I have another neighbor who knows that I've been watching out for a feral cat in the complex. He's not really feral. He's a cat that a neighbor left behind. And I know the neighbor left him behind because I used to pet sit for the neighbor, and I was pet sitting at another house, but I was home to check on my cats. And he said, hey, if I don't see you before you're back, I'm moving, and it's really been nice knowing you, and I just wanted to say goodbye. And so I know that he left, and I haven't seen him since. And then I saw his cat last week, so I've been feeding them. And so once the word got out on that, people have been bringing me cat food that their cats don't like. And this cat, isn't getting fed anymore other than what he can catch and kill. So we've been kind of feeding him on the sly. Not at night because we don't want to draw the raccoons in, but we've been feeding him during the day, so at least he doesn't starve to death. And if you ever move, take your animals. Please don't leave them behind. It's not fair to the animal. And it's not fair to your neighbors either, because we're not going to let your animal starve. But anyway, let's start with the eyebrows. Oh, and I'm going to do this in my mirror, because if I try and do this in my camera screen, I'm going to look crazy. It's bad enough that without my glasses, I can't really see what I'm doing. So at the end, I put on my glasses and I fix whatever craziness there is. Because if I have my glasses on, they cover up my eyebrows. I mean, you can't do your brows like that. So do the best I can, and I'll fix it later. And then another thing that I got from Erica Taylor was, she said, when you're, naturally we're used to following the eyebrows right here, right in here, but as we age, that starts to move down. And so if you follow the natural eyebrow and you go down, it brings your whole face down. So she always says, instead of, like when you get to about here, instead of following the natural brow down, she says, flick it out. And that'll lift your face. So thank you, Erica. I've been doing that as best I can. Probably not as good as you, but I'm practicing and I'm learning. And I'm doing the best I can. And she also said, don't do it like this. Don't raise your eyebrows, because then that puts them in a weird place. You have to kind of have a resting face. A resting you-know-what face. And just kind of let them go where they're going to go. And when you see that you're starting to go down, go out instead. Now, I'm not going up. I'm just trying to straighten that drag a little bit. And I don't do it much because I don't have a lot of brow out there anyway. My brows have kind of faded over time. And I've also got a thyroid issue that I've got medicated, but that also affects your eyebrows. So, and it's natural for us to kind of go like that, and you don't want to do that. I'm just trying to carve in where I'm basically trying to fill it in where it's a little sparse. Another trick that I might do later today that I haven't done in a while is you can dye your eyebrows really affordably by using Just for Men hair dye. And because it comes, the color and the activator come in 2 different tubes that have caps on them. And so it's not a one-use thing and you're done. It's like $10 for the box. And you get these 2 tubes, and you only use a pea-size amount for your eyebrows. And so the tube lasts you 6 months to a year. And it doesn't go bad that quick. So, I mean, it's very affordable. I mean, that's like, for $10, you can dye your eyebrows once a week for almost a year. And I haven't done it in a while. So for me, it's going to last longer, but I am due because mine are pretty light. And if you have gray in your eyebrows, that can make them darker again if you don't want to fool with the grays. If you do, that's okay too. But if you want darker, more defined eyebrows, that really helps. And I might do that tonight. I haven't done that in a while. The people that do it regularly do it about once a week. I haven't put it on the schedule. I probably should. I should probably do it when I do my nails. I do my nails once a week. I'm trying not to go down. I think I went down a little bit there. Just rub it off. And the nice thing is if you're doing your eyes first, I can clean that up with concealer too. So you can put a little dab of concealer where it wants to naturally go down, and it basically, without, I mean, you could also shave that area or pluck it, but I wouldn't pluck it. Once you pluck things, I mean, sometimes they don't come back, and styles may change. But you could shave the tip off, or I don't shave or pluck it. I just cover that up a little bit with concealer. So I think I did better going out on this eye than I did this eye, but you know, they're not twins, they're sisters. I can't remember who said that. I think I've heard that a few people say that. I think that's an Erica Taylor thing too. I follow her a lot because she specializes in mature makeup. I think she's 50 or in her early 50s. So that's what she focuses on. And she's been a makeup artist for years. And this was the L'Oreal Brow Stylist. And I think I've just got it in a medium brown. And then, because it's Sunday and I have time, I think I'll use my this is a little sample size I got of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Gel. And this gives them a little bit of color if they're light. And it keeps them in place. Not like a laminated situation, but just a well-groomed situation. And if you drag the tip along the skin there, that will give you some pigment too. When I've run out of a brow pencil, I've used this instead of a brow pencil, and I've just dragged it along the line and then combed it out to kind of blend it. Okay. This one you can get messy with if you go too far. So I don't usually comb that through on its own, but I may go back with this other one, this other spoolie, and just kind of comb them in place. The other one has too much product on it to really comb them in place without making a mess. So you can use a clean spoolie and just come back afterwards. And for people new to makeup, this is a spoolie, this little thing on the end. Then next, I'm not gonna do any eyeshadow today because it's my off day. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not gonna use that one. I bought a new drugstore eyeliner a couple days ago. And this is, yeah, this is it. This is the LA Colors automatic. This is the new liner pencil that I got. I got one in black and navy and brown, and this is the brown one. And Audie taught me this. He said, you know, start with your tight lining and close your eye and just rub it back and forth. And that will tight line your eye without poking your eye out like I always do. And what happens is when you open your eye, you've got eyeliner on both sides, but it's really light. It's a light hand. It's not real obvious. And if you want, you know, it to be a little deeper, you can go back in and do it again, like I'm doing. And then you can kind of open your eye and clean it up a little bit, but that gets it, because I have a hard time, like if I'm just looking at it and pulling up my lid, I poke myself in the eye. But when I do it this way, the way Audie taught on TikTok, it's wonderful. So thank you, Audie, for that tip. Oop, I just poked myself a little. And if you've watched any of my other makeup videos, you know my eyes water really easily. So I'm trying to be careful with them so we don't get the waterfall show. But I did use my mineral sunscreen today, not the full spectrum, so I should be good. And the way that we used to line our eyes with the big eyeliner all the way around and on the bottom is really dated. And so I don't do that anymore. But I resisted tight lining because I kept poking myself in the eye. But after I saw that tip, it's been a game changer. And then I just kind of clean up wherever it's missing. And the trick is to go light. Okay, so that is the tight lining. And then I will set that later with a little bit of brown bronzing powder. But before I get to the bronzing powder, I am going to put my base on. Now this is my current favorite. I try different things. This is the L'Oreal True Match Nudes. And I've got this in, let me put my glasses on, I'll tell you the color. I just went with a darker color because I've done some self-tanning. And this is, what color was this? I think this was like light, yeah, here, I can see it now. Light medium, and it's 3 to 4. And then for my concealer, I bought a new concealer for the same reason. Where did it go? Here it is. And I got the True Match also. I'm trying this out. And I got this in the same shade range. Well, no, this is, I went one shade darker than what I had before. And this is, they both have, they're called serum foundations because they both have hyaluronic acid in them. This has 1%, this has 1.5%. So as you use them, it helps your skin. And this one is, and they've got caffeine in them too. This one has caffeine in it too to help with puffiness. But I went, let's see, what color is this? Hyaluronic acid, where's the color? This is light medium, and this was in the same shade range. This is a 3 to 4 on their website, and I think this was a 2.5 or a 3. But I went one shade darker than what I used and one shade darker. This is my summer color. Getting ahead of myself a little bit. Before I do my base, I'm going to put my mascara on. And I'm going to curl them with my new eyelash curler. This one was a basic Revlon. I think it was the extra curly. You can spend a lot more on these eyelash curlers, but for 10 bucks, Revlon makes a good one. I've used it my whole life. I wanted to try the Tweezerman one, but it was $15. And I had a coupon on this one, and it works. So, I mean, this is not high technology, so I just didn't see the point. Because makeup gets so expensive as it is, that wherever you can save money, I do. You know, I check things out at the dollar store. I clip the coupons at CVS. I only buy my absolute favorites or a splurge at Sephora. My mascara is a splurge that I did get at Sephora around Christmas time when they were having the Sephora sale and I had coupons on it. And this is the Too Faced Better Than Sex. And I hadn't used it in a really long time, but I remembered enjoying it. So I thought, oh, let's try that again. I remember it never really clumped, and it made my lashes look really pretty. And who doesn't want that? And it still does. It still goes on really easy. It's a classic. It's not a new release. but it works. And you know, there's a new release with makeup every 5 minutes. So it's really hard to forget your old favorites. But this one's a good one. I had just run out of my L'Oreal Telescopic and my L'Oreal Lash Paradise. That's a nice combo. This goes on really nice and clean though. Like, it doesn't go on gloppy, which I like. And it's really easy to separate your lashes so they don't, you know, it doesn't get them all stuck together. Some mascaras will stick your lashes together so terribly, or they flake off. And this one stays put, and it's real easy to get nice separation on it with it. And it doesn't make a mess. But if it did, we haven't done our concealer or foundation yet, so I could clean it up. The trick with the mascara, and I learned this from Audie too, I didn't know this. If your mascara gets in the wrong place, like let's say you swipe your nose or your cheek or something, instead of trying to clean it up right away, especially if you've already done your face makeup, he showed if you wait for it to dry and then take a dry clean spoolie, you can brush it right off. And I thought that was genius. So again, I really enjoyed that. Okay, now I'm ready for my face makeup. And the other trick that I've been using is, I was putting it on with a brush, but this particular foundation goes on really well with a sponge. I've seen a lot of people use a brush, and when I use a brush, I don't get as even and smooth results. So I really prefer to put this on with a sponge. And then Audie says use 2 pumps. So we're going to use 2 pumps, which seems like a lot, but the sponge soaks it right up. So maybe it's not. And I should have put my concealer on first, but that's okay. It's not surgery. Nobody's going to die. If I put something on in the wrong order, it's really going to be okay. I am going to blend this out into my hairline and cover my ears with it. And I'm going to take off this earring. I hate getting makeup on my jewelry. And I've got a little mole there, so I like to cover that up. Bring it down my neck. Take off the other earring before it gets all gunky. And a whole lot of blending without getting it into my eyebrows. The tapping puts the product in, and the wiping blends it out. And I'm staying away from this area because I'm going to put concealer in there, and then I'll blend them together. And then if I really want to see what I look like, I've got this little mini 5X mirror that I can look at for people that are challenged visually and get in all the places that I will see when I put my reading glasses on. This stuff does so much better than some of the other things that I have tried. And it's not even the brand. It's just some things do better. Like there was this other thing that I tried last week, and it was, or a couple weeks ago, I threw it out. It was so terrible. Got a little lump there. There we go. Had a little bit of brow product stuck there. It was probably the Anastasia Beverly Hills. That stuff's really thick. This takes the longest, the blending. Okay, time for some concealer. I should have done it first, but I didn't, so oh well. One, two. Okay, in here, I've got dark areas, and I don't drag it down because it's just going to get cakey. And then over here, it gives a little bit of a brightening and a lift. And by my nose is always red, so I kind of even that out with the concealer too. And then Erica Taylor talks about doing an instant facelift by covering in your marionette lines, but I don't like to do too thick there because it'll settle in. And on the top here, I do whatever is left, just a little bit, because that lifts my lip a little bit and makes it look fuller. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to wait for all of that to dry down a little bit, and then I'll blend it out. And so I will be back. Okay, something else that I can do while I'm waiting for the concealer to dry down is I take this is my blush, the Lumi blush, put one dot on the back of my hand to use it as a palette. And then I take my beauty blender. I don't really have a blush brush that I love, so I do this with a beauty blender. And then I go, not where we used to go because that's too low, right up here on the top of the bone. And I'm avoiding that concealer. And it's kind of pigmented, but when I blend it all and I add the bronzer, that is going to blend out. And I don't put the dot directly on my face because it's harder to blend out that way. If I put it on the back of my hand, I end up with a lighter touch. And my undertones are kind of rosy anyway, so I don't want to add a whole lot of rosiness. When I was younger, I would skip blush altogether. I didn't need it. My cheeks were always so pink, and if I get warm, I get pink. If I'm exercising, I get pink. If I get flustered, I get pink. And so extra pink was not something I needed. I needed stuff to cut the pink. So I'm not used to putting a whole lot of blush on because I went decades without it, but my skin has gotten more even toned as I've gotten older. Okay, I think, let's see. Yeah, it's dark down enough. So I'm just going to pat at this. And I could use a concealer brush, but the concealer brush tends to wipe it away. And I don't want to wipe it away. I just want to blend it. And because I did the foundation first by accident, I'm going to go back in probably with a light little bit of foundation also, just to get that in the right order and to get the finish right. We'll see. We'll see what's needed. Got a little bit of mascara there. Okay, I am going to go in with the brush because the Beauty Blender is too big to get in the corner of my eye. And I'm just going to spread that out a little bit. All right. now I'm going to go in with just a tiny little bit foundation, just to marry all of that together. Okay, here's the test. See what it looks like with glasses on. There's all those wrinkles. Now I see them. Okay, and this was another thing that Audie said. He said that when you let your concealer dry down, he said come back in and wipe away whatever's sitting on the surface after it's basically soaked in. And then that way you don't have it settling into your lines. He said you can just brush it out. So let me put my glasses on so I can see what's going on here. It all looks so much better without glasses. Okay, let me get that. I've got another little mole I was zapping over here, so I'm gonna disappear that right now. Let that dry down a little bit. And let's see. Well, okay. Those will be gone in a couple of months. I've got this zapper that I've been using on my moles that actually works. It's a beauty pen. It's not for everybody. You know, if you scar easily, or if you have real dark skin and scars show, you might not want to use it, but I've had really good luck with it. And I think I will make a video about the beauty tools that I've gotten, because some of them have been really fun and really effective for cheap. You know, I've gotten them very affordably. Okay, next I'm gonna do, let's see, what are we down to? Put this away. Now we're down to bronzer. We're almost done. I pulled out everything that I thought I would use ahead of time so I wouldn't forget anything when I get to talking. First, let's see. I use a big fluffy brush because my littler brushes are too little and they're too firm. I like something really fluffy because I want a light hand with the bronzer. Just want to bring a little glow, and I'll put a little bit on my eyes with the same big fluffy brush because I don't want it to be too pigmented. A little bit along my jawline, a bit up here, and then just blend. Oh, and then because I've got that eyeliner under here, I am going to take an eyeliner. Actually, that one's not the one I'm going to use. I'm going to use this one. This one is a little firmer and smaller. And what this does is this sets that eyeliner, and it also kind of covers up the darkness that you naturally have under your eyes as you age. And I'll do it on the top too instead of eyeliner, just to give my eyes a little bit of definition. See the difference between the two? This eye looks so much more open with that. But it's not a harsh liner, it's just bronzer. And I take it out into the corners just a little bit for a little bit of a smoky eye look, but it also makes my eyes look bigger. So now another thing that you can do is you can chisel your nose, but you don't want to do it wide. If you do it wide, it'll actually make your nose look wider and flatter. So you want to do a real narrow line on each side, as close to the center as you can get away with. And you want to start up here because you want that shadow to start with the top of the bottom of your eyebrow. And this is, again, I'm not using contour, I'm just using bronzer. And then I can go in and blend it with this. And my nose just got more snatched. Okay, that's it for bronzer. I can get carried away with the bronzer. With the powder, as you age, you want to take a really light touch, and you can see I have hardly anything in there. I'm going to dab my thing in there. I'm going to knock it off. And then I'm going to buff it on the back of my hand. So there's really very little on the blush, on the brush. Then I'm going to touch the T-zone. Just kind of lock everything in. There's nothing to lock on the eyes because I don't have any eye makeup on. I want to come down here a little bit, just very lightly. Because as you age and you've got lines, this powder will settle into those lines. So I don't want to I want to just lightly, like barely touch underneath my eyes. Just enough to set it, but not go crazy at all. And at this point, there's very little on this brush, if anything. That's it for that. So hardly any powder. Powder will make you look like a cadaver a few hours later once it settles. And we don't want to look like that. We want to look alive. So next and final is lips. You know, a lip pencil is nice if you have uneven lips or really skinny lips, or you drink a lot of coffee and you want some color to last. You can use a lip pencil and fill it in and just put some gloss over it and call it done. And this is the liner that I use the most. It is, who is this? I don't know. I think that's L'Oreal also. And it's just a really natural color. And I overline very slightly. You don't want to look crazy. But our lips lose volume as we age, so. Just want your lips back. Now, another trick I do is when I'm done lining them, I usually fill them in because that way if I drink coffee or have a soda, I won't end up with that lip line look when my lipstick wears off because I'll have this base underneath. And the lip pencil lasts longer. So at least the color will be uniform. So even though it's nude and it may not be the same color I'm going to put on top of it, I almost always fill them in. And then that way, if you've eaten off your lipstick, you still have some color on your lips. I also am careful about the corners because the corners start to turn down as you get older and you don't want to accentuate that. So if you leave them blank, that's fine. you don't have that downturned look. And then I'm wearing orange today, so I thought I'd wear a brighter lipstick to kind of complement the orange. Let's see how this works. I think that's pretty. And then I got this a couple days ago at the Dollar Tree. And this is a berry color, but lip glosses don't have a ton of pigment in them usually, just more of a gloss. So I thought a little bit of berry would be fine. Adds a little depth. And I thought it would tone down the brightness of the lipstick too. And then the final step, not putting my earrings back on yet, is I'm just gonna set it all. And another tip that I got from Erica Taylor is she said, set the middle, leave the outsides unset with the setting spray, because then you'll get a more natural skin finish. And so it's Sunday, I'm not going anywhere, I'm gonna do that. She said the T-zone in the middle. And you do want to make sure that your mascara is dry before you do that one. And then if you want all day staying power, now this one was the Sephora. I like this one because it doesn't stink and it doesn't feel like hairspray. But if I'm wearing a white shirt and I have a lot of makeup on, I'll use this one, because this one does have more holding power. This is the infallible 3-minute, 36-hour. Like, I would never not wash my face for 36 hours, but this one is really, this one does last, and it makes your makeup transfer proof. So if you're wearing a white dress or, you know, you're gonna hug somebody, that one's a good one because it won't transfer on their clothes. And that's it. So I hope you got some ideas from this. Thank you for joining me. And now I'm ready for whatever the day has. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next time.